Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. So today we are going to start with chapter 7, that is metals and non-metals. It is a very important chapter. Okay, now we will see the first part. Even if it is not there in your syllabus, we will just discuss it. Can you recall what are the three types in which the elements are generally classified? We studied this in the other chapter. Okay, so elements are generally classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. What are the metals and non-metals that we use in everyday life? Okay, so in our everyday life we make use of some metals, some non-metals. For example, gold, silver, aluminium, copper, these are the metals which we make use of, and carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, these are the non-metals which we make use of. All the objects or materials in the world are made from elements, compounds or their mixtures. Scientists classified all the elements into three general types, which are metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now the first part of the chapter is about the study of metals. Metals: gold, silver, iron, copper, aluminium, magnesium, calcium, sodium, platinum are a few metals. Metals have luster. Luster means shine. The metals are hard. Wire or sheet can be made from that metal. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals lose their valence electrons to produce positively charged ions, that is cations. Okay, you may underline that. It is a very important point in the chapter. Okay, basically to understand what do you mean by cations. What do you mean by cations? Cations are positively charged ions. Okay, what are ions? Ions are charged particles. Okay, so in the other chapter we studied that at the time of reactions, the elements, the atom of an element, it will either give, share or take electrons. Okay, so those who give electrons will become positive ions and those who gain electrons will become negative ions. Okay, those who give electrons will become positive ions and those who gain electrons will become negative ions. Positive ions are called as cations. Okay, positive ions are called as cations. So metals lose their valence electrons to produce positively charged ions, that is cations. Okay, now we will move on to the next topic, that is physical properties of metals. This is a very important question. The first is the physical state. Okay, physical state. What are the three states? Solid, liquid and gas. So physical state of solid is basically solid. Okay, physical state of physical state of metal is basically solid, but there are some exceptions. Exception is mercury and gallium, which occur in liquid state. You might have seen the thermometer. In the thermometer, the liquid which is there, the shiny liquid which is there, that is mercury. Second characteristic is luster. Luster means shine. Metals have a shiny appearance. Okay, luster. Next is hardness. Metals are generally hard. Exception sodium and potassium, which are soft metals. You can cut it with a knife. Next is ductility. Ductility is the ability to form wires which could be extended into wires. If it could be extended into wires, then that property is called as ductility. Gold wire, copper wire, aluminium wire, you might have seen. So that property is called as ductility, and metals have the property of ductility. Next is malleability. Malleability is the ability to be beaten into sheets. Okay, you can make sheets. You might have seen the foil, aluminium foil. Aluminium foil, it is very thin and it is a very smooth sheet. Okay, so that property to form sheets is called as malleability, and metals have the property of malleability. Okay, next is conduction of heat. Conduction of heat, they are generally good conductors of heat. Okay, so that is why we use vessels made up of metals, copper vessel, iron vessel, okay, which is used for heating because they are good conductors of heat. Exception, best conductors of heat include silver, copper and aluminium. Conduction of electricity, they are good conductors of electricity. Exception is lead. Lead is neither a good conductor nor a bad conductor of electricity. Next is density. The density of metals is generally high, but there is an exception, sodium, potassium and lithium. They are having low density. The density of lithium is about 0.53 grams per cc. Okay, that you may underline in the textbook on page number 49 about the density of lead. Okay, so this is, and these are the exceptions: sodium, potassium, density of lithium, sodium, potassium and lithium. MP and BP. MP means it is melting point and BP means it is boiling point. The melting point and boiling point is generally high. Exceptions include mercury, gallium, sodium and potassium. They are having low melting and boiling points. The last property is sonority. Sonority is the ability to produce a ringing sound when it is struck by something. Okay, when it is struck by something, it produces a ringing sound. That sound is said to be sonorous. So these are the properties, physical properties of metals. We'll see what are the physical properties. Physical state generally in solid state: luster, hardness, ductility, malleability, conduction of heat, conduction of electricity. They are having high density, high melting and boiling point, and they are having the property of sonority. You may write this in your notebook. Now the next is about physical properties of non-metals. The physical state, they generally occur in solids, liquid or gaseous state. There are all the three states. Solids example is carbon, sulfur and phosphorus. Liquids example is bromine, which is occurring in a liquid state. The gases include hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, etc. They occur in gaseous state. These are all non-metals. Okay. Next, luster. They do not have the property of luster. Luster means shine. Okay, they are colorless. Generally they are colorless or of different colors. For example, carbon is black, sulfur is yellow and bromine is brown. Okay, these colors could be asked as objective type questions. They have the property of brittleness. Brittleness means they are hard but not hard. If you strike it with a hammer, it will get converted into powder. It will become a powder. For example, coal. Okay, if you strike it with a hammer, it will break into pieces. So that property, it is said to be brittleness. Brittleness. Exception is diamond. Diamond is made up of carbon. Basically it is made up of carbon. It is a non-metal and it is the hardest substance. So it is the only non-metal which is having the property of hardness. Next, ductility and malleability. Okay, ductility and malleability. What do you mean by ductility? Ductility is the ability to form wires and malleability is the ability to form sheets. These non-metals do not show the property of ductility nor malleability. Next is conduction of heat and electricity. They are bad conductors of heat and electricity. Exception is graphite, which is again carbon. It is a good conductor of electricity. Density, they are having low densities. Melting point and boiling point, they are having low melting and boiling point. Exception, carbon and boron melt at high temperatures. So these are the physical properties of non-metals. You could be getting a question to differentiate between metals and non-metals. So you can differentiate with the help of these points. Okay. Now the last one type of elements is metalloids. Examples they have given: arsenic, silicon, germanium, antimony. These are the 4 examples given in our textbook. You may learn that. Okay, arsenic, silicon, germanium, antimony. These show the properties of both metals and non-metals, so they are said to be metalloids. So today we studied about the physical properties of metals, physical properties of non-metals, examples of metalloids, and what do you mean by metalloids. You may learn this much today and read the textbook. Okay, thank you.